MegaPodTastic.
Good morning, MegaPodlings. Krazy Joe here, and I want to talk to you about the latest Star Trek short trek. Now, I haven't talked about any of these short treks before. This is the first I've discussed them. So I'm not sure if you know what a Star Trek short trek is. So let me explain. Star Trek Discovery wrapped its first season. Second season got greenlit. Second season premieres in just less than 2 weeks. But a few months ago, CBS All Access started running short 15-minute Star Trek Discovery episodes called Short Treks. And this was a means to keep people engaged before the new season premiered. So there were 4 of them, 1 per month, leading up to the January second season premiere. And the last short trek, entitled The Escape Artist, just debuted on Thursday. And I wanted to talk about it. It's the first one I've decided to do a video about. I've watched them all. The first one was called The Runaway, and it was an episode that focused on the character of Sylvia Tilly, who's kind of the breakout character of the show. I think most people I know think she's the best character. So, I was looking forward to seeing that because she is probably the best character on the show. And I'm sorry to say it was terrible. It was just awful. I'm a huge fan of the show, but it was not good, The Runaway. They really dropped the ball. And in retrospect, I think CBS All Access made a huge mistake releasing that one first. That should not have been the first short trek that they put out there. You want to put your best foot forward. I say you start strong, end strong. There's 2 really good ones, as it turns out. I think one of the really good ones should have been first, and one of the really good ones should have been last, and the other 2 should have been sandwiched in the middle. Start strong, end strong. That's the way I would have gone. But no, they started with their weakest one. When it's all said and done, and we've seen all 4 of them, the weakest of the week was the one they debuted first, and that was The Runaway. So a month later, we get one called Calypso, and that one was interesting because it was set 1,000 years in the future, and it was about Discovery's computer basically kind of gaining sentience and becoming a AI and falling in love with someone. I found it to be a little derivative of the movie Her, which starred Joaquin Phoenix and the voice of Scarlett Johansson as a artificial intelligence. I thought this short trek was very derivative of that. Some people said it didn't feel like Star Trek. I kind of agree with that. It wasn't bad. It had a lot of charm. It was a very charming story. It was hard to dislike because it had a lot of charm, but it wasn't that good, and it wasn't that original. So the first 2, by far the weakest. Then we get to the third one, which debuted in December, called The Brightest Star. And it was an origin story for the character Saru, played by Doug Jones. And Saru is one of the more popular characters on the show. And, it was kind of good to see his origin story because he comes from an alien race that we've been told all through season 1 of Discovery that his race was a prey race. They're food. They're basically bottom of the food chain on their evolutionary cycle, and they are bred to basically be food for another species. So you got to wonder, how does a species like that get into Starfleet? They don't sound like they would be very technologically advanced if someone's breeding them to eat them. And The Brightest Star gives us a little backstory on how Saru managed to kind of get away from his people and get in Starfleet. It's a good story. It's really good. It's the first one of the short treks that I would say was legitimately, good. And I'd give it a good 3 stars. It was really well done. But the last one, the one that debuted just last week, was called The Escape Artist. And this is a 4-star short. This is great. This is great. This one was so good, it made the whole short trek endeavor worthwhile, even though it got off to a rough start. Rainn Wilson, in season 1 of Discovery, Rainn Wilson has been playing the role of Harry Mudd, Harcourt Fenton Mudd, played by Roger C. Carmel on Star Trek, the original series. Harry Mudd appeared in 2 episodes of the original series and 1 episode of the animated series. And he's a fun character. So Rainn Wilson from The Office, Dwight Schrute from The Office, took on the role of Harry Mudd. He's a younger Harry Mudd, 10 years before we meet him on the original series in the episode Mudd's Women. And he was in 2 episodes, I want to say, of Discovery's first season, possibly 3. I think it was 2. I think it was 2 episodes. He was great. He was really great. His Mudd was darker and a little more evil than Roger C. Caramel's. Roger C. Caramel kind of played Harry Mudd as an annoyance. I mean, he was kind of like Quark on Deep Space Nine. Yeah, he wasn't a good guy. Yeah, he was shady. Yeah, he was gonna, do some really shady under the table things to make a profit. But he didn't seem evil. He didn't seem like evil. Well. The new Harry Mudd we've gotten to know, he checks all the boxes. I mean, there's no question this is Harry Mudd. He feels like Harry Mudd. He acts like Harry Mudd, but he's darker and definitely more nefarious and evil than the Roger C. Carmel version ever was. Rainn Wilson's version of the character isn't above killing people. It's hard to imagine Roger C. Carmel's Harry Mudd killing people, but that's not the case with Rainn Wilson's. So the last of the short treks premieres. It's called The Escape Artist, and it's a Harry Mudd story. And Rainn Wilson's back as Harry Mudd, but also Rainn Wilson directed it. It was directed by Rainn Wilson, and man, he did a fantastic job. He did such a good job. I would be thrilled to see his name in the credits in season 2 of Discovery if he comes back to direct an episode. If you let him direct as many episodes as he wants, because man, he knocked this one out of the park. This story was funny, and it had nice little throwbacks to the established original series canon, what we know of Harry Mudd and where Harry Mudd ends up, and where the character of Harry Mudd goes on Star Trek the original series. We get hints of that, and it all kind of ties together. It's really good. There's some twists. I don't want to give it away. I highly recommend you check it out. I can't speak highly enough of this episode. It's just so much fun. One of the great things is it opens with Harry Mudd. He finds himself as a captive on a Tellarite. A Tellarite has taken him captive. And I couldn't remember, have we seen, is this the first we saw a Tellarite on Discovery? Turns out, no, there was a Tellarite on the season finale of Discovery, the first season finale. I had forgotten. So this is the second time we're seeing a Tellarite on Discovery. But they've totally revamped the Tellarite makeup, and it is great. It is so great. Like, you'll look at this guy, and there's no question in your mind, he's a Tellarite. He's got a pig snout. He's got like the pig look that the Tellarites had on the original series, but he's also got tusks. It's a great updating. They took the Discovery, Star Trek Discovery producers took a lot of heat for redesigning the makeup of the Klingons. And as much as I love the show, I'm a huge fan of the show, I thought redesigning the Klingons was a mistake too. I thought the Klingon makeup was just too iconic. You shouldn't make that drastic of a change. You want to tweak it. You want to tweak it just a little so that it looks maybe a little better, but they're still, like, you should be able to like look at them and not, we shouldn't have to be told they're Klingons. We should just look at them and go, those are Klingons. And that wasn't the case with the current Klingons. They totally revamped the makeup. If we weren't told they were Klingons, we wouldn't have known they were Klingons. Well, that was the great thing about this Tellarite makeup. It definitely was an update. It definitely was tweaked. But there was no question this dude was a Tellarite. I looked at him, I'm like, man, it's a Tellarite. You just know. So it's a great example of a way to revamp and tweak the makeup done right. So I can't recommend it enough. Check out The Escape Artist if you have CBS All Access and you haven't checked it out yet. By all means, please check it out. You are going to be very happy. And let's see more of Rainn Wilson as Harry Mudd, and let Rainn Wilson direct again, because he nailed this one. So until next time, and until January 17th, I can't wait to see season 2 of Discovery. But keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep Keep wearing those pajamas with the plastic feet. Keep wearing those pajamas. Tell everyone you meet. Keep wearing those pajamas with the back door flap. Keep wearing those pajamas. Don't open it, it's a trap. Oh no, it's a trap. Some people call them PJs, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander Adamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now we're having fun. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now the song is done.